thank you for taking the time to participate in this discussion with me here. Um, for those who have watched the previous video, I expressed some of the ideas that I was sort of struggling with, some of the things I was battling with in terms of um, just caring for myself, self-care. And this has been an area I've seen a lot of people dealing with specifically as of late. Why? Because there are so many people who are in positions that either they're losing the passion for it, or they've had the passion for it for so long, but they're starting to become worn down. And so one of the things we have to make sure of is that we're caring for ourselves, the things that we need to do health-wise to make sure that we are still able to perform at a high level in our jobs. And so what we're looking at here, I just wanted to go over a couple of the things that, one, I was struggling with, but two, I've been able to take this week and spend some time and actually figure out what can I do in order to fix, well, not fix, but to improve my overall health, so that I can be the best that I can be in the classroom. And so two of the things I was really dealing with was, one, I was feeling like a lack of balance. My work life had become now part of my home life, and that took away time from being able to spend with my wife. It took away from time from me being able to get the exercise that I needed, and really to pay attention to those things that I wanted to do outside of the classroom. The other part was, while I was in the classroom, my focus was so varied. I was looking at so many different aspects that I actually became almost paralyzed in my movements. And what I mean by that is there's so much that I wanted to do and so much that I saw that needed to be done, but I didn't have a systematic way of approaching it. And so today in this video, we're actually going to talk about the first thing that I was dealing with, which was the balance. There were some things that I was doing inside the classroom that were detrimental to my overall health. And it's not that I was, not doing my job, or I was doing anything that was illegal or outside of my job limits, but I would focus in so much on doing, every aspect. I wanted to make sure that my online class looked perfect and that the sequencing was done. I was looking for resources for future units that are coming up. I was trying to adjust units and things from the past that we had already covered and make the adjustments now so that I won't forget them when it comes to next year. And so all of these things together tended to actually have a negative effect on my overall health. What do I mean? Well, I would get home and I couldn't get it off my mind. And it didn't matter how long I sat in front of a computer or how long I tried to work on it, the list seemed to grow and grow and grow. And so with that being the case, I ended up with a situation of almost burned out, feeling almost paralyzed in my position because there was nothing that I felt that I could do that would make that list shorter. And so I started to do some reading, and then I figured I'd take this week and actually try to figure some things out. Now, the first thing I did this week was actually kind of counterintuitive to the whole process. I had signed up to do a 3-day academic camp for my AP students, for my advanced placement students. And these students have their tests coming up in approximately 30 working days on May 7th. And so I wanted to be able to spend some time working with them and making sure that they had everything they needed for the content. Well, it was a much smaller group that actually came in. And what I started to notice is, as I discussed and as I presented the information, there was a lot more feedback. There was a lot more give and take from the lesson. It wasn't just, here's information, take it, take it, take it. There are a lot of questions that were asked. There was a time for me to be able to actually ask questions and to assess them, and it didn't have to be a paper pencil quiz. And that's what sometimes it's become. Everything has to be measured, and everything has to be analyzed. And in doing so, it sort of takes you away from the actual teaching process, and you feel that you're spending more time looking at data than interacting and teaching students. And I've heard so many teachers and people remark, you don't teach content, you teach students. And that is the part that needs to be front and center. But that also means on my part that I have to organize and structure it in such a way where that I can interact with the students while they do the work. That's another key that has to go in there. It's not just the interacting and me staying up front and just telling them things, but while they're in the midst of learning, there has to be that interaction where I can be supportive of them while they're working through learning the materials. This will make the interactions, the discussions that much greater when we come back together as an overall group. And it also will allow me to not feel guilty because I have those students who I know are struggling and I haven't been able to interact with them. I haven't been able to support them in the way that they need. And so this sort of helped me to see again that passion, that drive, that joy of teaching again. Now, for some of you, you may not be a teacher, and so you may say, this means absolutely nothing to me. The other thing that you can consider is what type of service activities do you have? How can you take the skills that you already, the skill set that you already have, the things that you know, and put them into practice in helping someone who doesn't have it? I know in education and being a teacher, there are students who will come in for tutoring and they'll come in for assistance for different things. But in your local community, is there a Boys and Girls Club, a church group, or something where you can interact and mentor some of those younger kids to make sure that they have the resources and the support they need to be more successful moving forward? Now, the second thing that I put into this week is I spent some time getting some exercise. And I know before I said that was the thing that I was sort of struggling with. And I think part of it was a mental struggle. Most people, when they think exercise, that means they either need to go to the gym or they need to go for a run. And for those who don't know, I'm not a very small guy. And so the running aspect tends to be kind of challenging for me. It's kind of daunting. So what I did instead is I realized that while I don't like running for long periods of time, I like playing basketball. I'm not that good at it, but I enjoy shooting the ball around. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and set a timer and say, for 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the ball. And if I miss and the ball goes, the opposite way, I can't just walk for it. I can't just take my time getting there. I have to run for it. And this has allowed me to get a lot more running, a lot more cardio in, and I feel a lot less sluggish. And as much as that sounds counterintuitive, again, the more you exercise, the more your body gets moving, the more efficient it begins to work. And so instead of dealing with this, sluggish, I'm tired, I know I'm sore, you will have that soreness, but that's not the only thing that you'll actually be dealing with. You'll actually have a lot more energy and your body will be able to function at a much higher level for longer periods of time. The last and final thing, and after reading many different articles, they sort of point back to the same idea, that you're going to take some time and you need to be creative. Now, if you're a person like me, you'll realize that art may not be your biggest and best tool. I cannot draw a picture to save my life. Painting, not really a good thing for me. But for me, actually making this video and learning how to work video editing programs and different techniques that can be used, these are things that actually they invigorate my mind, they challenge me, they make me pull out those problem solving skills that I hadn't been using because I was so focused on everything that's going on inside the classroom. Whatever it is for you, you may be an amazing artist, you may sing, you may write, you may dance, all of those things that make up your personality and the gifts that you've been given. You have to use them. If you don't, one, you begin to lose them, and you notice that if you were great at dancing, you may have lost a step or two. Or with me, with video editing, there are some programs that I knew backwards and forwards, and now I have to go back and relearn those techniques and those skills. So you have to keep those going. Now, for those who are saying, okay, this all sounds wonderful, but again, this is a time thing. This is not a thing that I don't want to exercise or I don't want to, be creative and write and whatever the case. How do I, having that lack of time, make this all work for me? And the thing that I've been working on, and I'm going to continue to work on, is etching out or carving out that time so that I can make sure I am taken care of. one of the key things here is if I'm not my best, I can't give my best to the students. And if they're not getting my best, then there's some things that they may be missing. And I don't want that to be the case. So I have to make the time. I have to sometimes, cut off the computer, cut off, try to take my brain, and my work brain is on rest here so that I can take care of the things that are most important. That includes my health, that includes my family. Because again, if all of those things are in shambles, I'm not going to be able to give my best in the classroom. I'm not going to be able to give my 100% when I'm in front of the students. And that means I'm not going to effectively use that time. Well, that's what I have at the moment. If this has been, something that you needed or, inspired you in some way to go ahead and look for the ways that you actually can take care of yourself. What I want you to do is go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to try, as I grow, as I learn things, I'm going to share them out here. And my hope is that in the process, I'll be able to help someone along with myself to become the best person that I can be. I'll work to be the best that I can be. I can make sure that I'm giving them my best and they can become their best. That's all I got for now. Have a wonderful day. See you guys later.